Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zymax, and I'm your chief show attendant. On behalf of the two hosts and the rest of the crew, welcome aboard Weird Wednesday Flight number 13, non-stop, from your current location to parts unknown. Our flight will be at about 2 hours, and we'll be flying at the speed of sound. At this time, make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position, and that your seatbelt is currently fastened. Enjoy the ride.
Well, hello. What's happening? Welcome to Weird Wednesday. Right when I went to change the screen, I'm having microphone malfunction. My microphone needs a pill or something. How's everybody doing? It won't stay up.
Uh-oh.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Huh. Wow, the whole thing is falling apart on me as we speak. The whole thing just fell apart.
You can't, like, suppose you can't just.
Why couldn't it do this 10 minutes ago? Okay, so, well, here I just
That
broke
didn't sound good.
Nope. Luckily, that wasn't the new one. Anyways.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Anyways, now I'm just going to do it old school and hold the microphone since everything else just shit the bed. How's it going, everybody?
It's Mercury. It's retrograde.
Wow, man. Like literally seconds before I switched the screen, everything just went to hell in a handbasket on me.
I'll blame that one on Mercury.
Oh, yeah. Good thing I got shoes on because there's broken glass all at my feet.
I was just thinking about your dogs, too.
They're not in here, luckily. Anyway, oh, man. All the way over there? Really? Okay. At least there wasn't liquid in it.
Yeah.
So how's everybody doing tonight? I had my, little fall apart right before the show. That's nothing new. You should be used to it, right? Nat Sherman. Those are good cigars. Zach, I remember those. I smoked Nat Sherman cigarettes for a while. Fancy cigarettes. So what's been going on out in your neck of the woods, Jamie D?
Just crime.
Just crime. Yeah, lots of crime, lots of
There's
gunshots.
lots
and
of
fire.
car break-ins and house break-ins and just extra crime.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's getting worse. But at least here, they think twice about it because, like a good 8 out of 10 people on any given street here is usually packing. So, and they ain't afraid to shoot these mofos either. So it kind of tends to dampen the crime a little bit, at least.
We got some of those around here too. It's just kids, people from out of the neighborhood, out of the area coming over here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I live on a dead end road. It's not a dead end, but well, it is. It's a cul-de-sac, but I'm right at the end in the cul-de-sac. And, I always see people coming down here, like cruise. There's no way out. You go down, you got to turn around and go back out. Some people are legit just like, whoop, took a wrong turn, didn't know it was a dead end because it doesn't say anything up at the road. But a lot of times I see people and they're just cruising, looking for like open garage doors to like scope it out,
Convenience, like a
Yeah.
everybody around here has like those Ring doorbells too.
Yeah, I was just looking at those today. And I thought about getting one. I got to research it more because I don't really know what's what with them. Trying to get the
Wolfie's got a lot of drunk drivers driving around, he says. Yeah, probably they're only busting them because they get money off of the violations, probably. Otherwise, they'd probably just let that go too.
Yeah. There's been a lot of cops out stopping people, looking for drunk driving, but also any reason to pull you over. Been a lot of cops out lately.
There has been?
Yeah.
No way. I can't tell you last time I saw. Really? Are you clicking now or am I? Are we both?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm way
we
behind.
used to get it all the time, but I hardly ever see cops out anymore. Really? Once in a while, they come out here by the park or when there's an emergency, but.
Well, that's because you're in California. Do you actually have cops out there?
That's what I mean. Like not too much. Not too much.
Yeah, we still got a bunch of them here.
They don't want to do their job and I don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was reading a thing the other day. Somebody had some family in, and they I forget what part of California they lived in, but the people that came in wanted to go to San Francisco. They're like, yeah, well, it was so lovely when we were growing up, and blah blah blah, flowers.
Culture shock.
Yeah. They went there to spend like a couple of days, and they spent a couple hours, and they're like, yeah, we'll never go back. Nothing like it was, what it used to be.
Last time I went was about a year and a half ago, and after seeing what it's changed into recently, I don't want to go over there. And that's like, I still have family that live out there. That's where I'm from. We used to have like drunks and, there were alcoholics and like heroin. There was heroin, the good old heroin addicts, and alcoholics. They were predictable. You knew how to deal with them. If you had any street smart at all, you knew how to handle the situation. I was never worried about being attacked by them. They'd follow you and do weird stuff sometimes, but you could handle that, and you knew where not to go.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah. It was the same, here, downtown St. Augustine. I was reading a thing about that too. And I'm trying to fix my mic as I'm talking. And same thing, almost the same exact story. Yeah, we had family in town, and we wanted to go to downtown St. Augustine. And yeah, well, that was a bust. Because it's just like, we just, got like panhandlers and people sitting in piss, and it's just disgusting downtown now.
They're gonna let people just pretty much live where they want in California now, and like we're worried like about the park right here. People start living in this park. That's going to be it. And once we leave California, there's no way we'll ever be able to come back.
Yeah,
but it's like we're feeling ourselves getting pushed out of here, and we think there's a reason for that too. And what they're going to do is litter our streets all the shit, and then once they get everybody to move, then they'll go and clean everybody up.
Yeah.
Once everybody is gone, and they have it for whatever they want it for.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was growing up here, we had bums, transients, whatever, but they had some source of decency. They wouldn't just sit, on the side of a busy road and like take a shit right where they're sitting, or just have piss in bottles, or they were at least had some couth and would like go off in the bushes somewhere.
They're actually smoking meth, crack, and slamming on the sidewalks in front of businesses in San Francisco.
Jeez.
Just sitting outside in the open. They don't even care who sees, what's going on. They just sit there doing their dope right there, right in front of recovery centers and stuff. Like, I think it was Jesse Waters, one of them, did a segment called San Francisco Needs an Exorcism.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's sad. I knew it was going to, kind of go that way once they started putting the needle dispensary things around. Like, just come in here and you can slam safely, like a safe spot.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah,
that's going to help.
Exactly.
And I can see them getting rid of like the methadone clinics out here and stuff. I can see the government saying, because they've already had so many problems, I bet you they're going to close those centers down because of everything.
Yeah.
They don't want people to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, back in the day here, if there were troublemakers, nowadays you hear it, the good old boy system. Well, there was some perks to the good old boy system. Not everything was perfect, but if you had some people that were, causing trouble here back when I was growing up, panhandlers, bums, whatever. And there's a difference in that and, just homeless people that legit need help. But, I'm talking about the people that are a freaking nuisance and a pain in the ass. And they would disappear. Nobody knows. I'm not saying they'd kill them, but they would just load them up and take them to another county, somewhere else, That old, you got rode out of town thing, that was real.
Well.
And it was, we didn't have problems like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
We had a couple of wacky people that were downtown, but they were cool, They weren't, like one guy we used to call Shorty, the little black guy. He's like 4 foot tall. And he is, hey, got a quarter? Got a quarter? But he wasn't like he didn't say it in a malicious or harassing way, you know. So you didn't feel bad about giving him a quarter, you know, or a couple of quarters, because he was cool. You could sit there and talk to him, you know, and he had all kinds of stories. And you know, people down there nowadays, they'll ask you for, you know, a 5 or a 10, and if you don't give them money, then they cuss you out and tell you what a piece of shit you are. And yeah, good thing I'm not on the city cops or whatever, because I'd be beating them over the head with a freaking bat. And then I wouldn't be a policeman much longer. Unfortunately.
Wolfie.
I'm right behind you, dude. I'm not far behind. As a matter of fact,
Those little wins, those little victories.
Yeah. I may have preempted the action on that a couple of times in the last year. Whoops. Oh, man. Yeah.
So you're a Taurus too?
Me?
Wolfie.
Oh, yeah.
What do you say, a couple of weeks, right?
Yep. Yeah, it always makes you safe when you come out of a store and people follow you to your car and harassing you the whole way.
Like the Girl Scouts, man.
Oh, dude, the Girl Scouts have got aggressive here lately.
Holy, I wanted to say, and what are you learning? Tell me one thing you're actually learning in Girl Scouts, except how to, you know, besides slinging cookies. Like, tell me one thing that you've learned.
Yeah, I came out of the grocery store the other day and it was like, Girl Scout cookies, Girl Scout. And they're like holding them out in front of me. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't have any cash. Oh, we take cards.
And they cover every door hole now.
Yeah, it's like I had nowhere to escape. I'm like, dude, I'm fat. I don't need cookies. Come on, you're trying to kill me. Buy some and give them to your friends. I don't have any friends.
Buy some stale $30 cookies.
Yeah, the last time I did buy some damn Girl Scout cookies, I about passed out when I found out how much they were. Like, these aren't $3 like the last time I bought them, you know, 20 years ago.
No, and I think they were like the same batch from when I was in Girl Scouts, because that was stale.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They're
it's a ripoff. I didn't learn anything in Girl Scouts except how to burn a Christmas tree down.
Huh. Like after Christmas tree or a Christmas tree? Oh, okay.
Well, they took us to a field and told us to find some flammable things, and we had a fireman out there to teach us how to put out a fire. That was the only like actual thing we did besides arts and crafts in the church or just sitting outside on the swings. And so then I found a dead Christmas tree, and, you know, I'm like, oh, this will work good. You know, that thing went up. They got pissed. That was one of my strikes to be removed from the Girl Scouts. That thing went up.
Yeah, I always, you know, Christmas comes around, you always see those videos, you know. Well, you used to. Not really much anymore, but you used to see those videos, you know, warning you about, you know, don't let your Christmas tree dry out and keep it away from, you know, anything flammable. And like the Christmas tree just goes up inside the house with everything.
And if there's curtains.
Oh, yeah, you're done for. See Heather's question there? Birthday's the last day of Taurus and the first day of Gemini. That's the cusp.
It means that you're right on the line between the two. Like they say, for Gen X, it goes to 1980. So my sister would be on the cusp because she's 1980. Her birthday's 1980, so she's right at the end of that year. What's your birthday? What's your actual birth date?
Someone asked me, what's the best place to see in my state? I said nothing. And why are you visiting? That's what I want to tell people here. Florida, man, it's just like gotten out of control.
Zach.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what they remind me of. Remember me? You didn't buy any cookies this year.
Oh, that's funny. And I just said 1980 about my sister. So you're a Gen Z also, or Gen X also.
Wow, 1980. I remember the 80s. It was like,
Yeah, it looks like they consider it a Gemini, but
1980s when I officially started making surfboards using my name on them.
really?
Yeah. Been doing that shit a long time. Girl Scouts go rogue. Yeah, man, there is some nutcakes out and abound. One thing good about living in Florida, there's a lot of crazy ass people here. No doubt about that. I cannot take anything away from that. But there's only crazy to a limit. It's like a different kind of crazy.
See, Turquoise got her daughter got to do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I should have done the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I was in the Boy Scouts for a while. We did some pretty cool stuff. My favorite time, though, I think I was in, I want to say it was 8th grade, 7th grade, 7th. No, I was in 8th grade, 8th and 9th grade. And we had this teacher. When I was in 8th grade, I wasn't in his class, but I would just go to his class anyway. And he'd always be doing like roll call, and he'd get to me and go, "Who are you?" Because I wasn't on the list. But he was cool, man. He was a cool teacher. He was like biology science teacher.
Oh,
and
cool.
He would always take us outside, and we'd go on field trips, just go walking out in the woods by the school, and he'd show us like what we could eat,
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
That's
like
awesome.
this weed you can eat. This one is going to make you sick. Don't eat this. We'd pick we picked a bunch of something and brought it back to his classroom, and he had like a little hot plate thing, and we like toasted it all up and ate it.
That's awesome. I wish there were still teachers like that.
Yeah, he was awesome. It was funny.
That's a real teacher.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of learned stuff. I forgot most of it, but I mean, it was cool, fun. He made it fun, and it was cool and interactive. And the teacher that I had, that I would always ditch class and go to this class, he was just he was like a lump in the back of your pants. He was his class sucked. He was just a jerk and didn't make it fun. He was a math teacher and just like You
Like
know,
Bueller.
no,
Bueller.
yeah, no sense of humor, no making it fun, no, his class was like a nightmare to have to sit through. So I just stopped going, and I would go to Mr. Brownette's class and just sitting there like I belong there, and it worked for like the majority of the year. And one day he was like, "Where do you keep coming from?"
That's funny.
And then the next year, I actually had him for a teacher. So it was like I show up in class and he'd be like, "Not you again." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm supposed to be here. I'm on the list this time."
That's hilarious.
But he'd just go along with it. Oh yeah, I'm the new kid, and he'd just be like, "Okay, come on." uh,
That's why I used to like teaching early childhood, and why I miss seeing teachers like that. So much of
yeah,
it's gotten lost now.
yeah. I mean, I think in school you should, like I took I don't know what it used to be called, home economics or whatever, and the majority of it was girls, which didn't bother me at all. I'm like, damn, this is cool. But we'd learn how to do all kinds of stuff like sew and like cook and like useful skills.
Yeah, electives were like useful things. Auto shop, wood shop,
Yeah,
home ec. Those are like useful class. Those are the things you actually use out of school, not trigonometry.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, I would. The other,
Electives were my favorite classes.
I used to take photography, and I would live in the dark room, and again, I would just like stay in there. The bell would ring, and I just pretend that I didn't hear it, and just stay in there
That
all
was
through
like
the
me and my
next.
ceramics class.
Yep. But it
I
was
took
cool. I was like the head photographer, like the head developer for. I did all the pictures for the school, the album, whatever it's called.
the yearbook.
Yeah, yearbook. Yeah, do all the pictures for that. Like,
You developed all of them?
yeah,
That's awesome, Rob.
yeah,
Do you still remember how to do that?
yeah, yeah. I
That's
did
a
it for
good
a while, but
skill.
yeah, it was easy back then because everything was black and white. So then color became more popular and a lot more chemicals and a little different technique for color. But black and white's easy.
That's awesome.
I took drafting.
I took drafting.
Yeah,
Our projects were like comic book characters. One of our projects, we had to do it to scale.
yeah. I thought about taking my car out to the technical center where I went. I went to school years ago, and because I need my front end fixed from when that jackass hit me a while back.
Will they still do that?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, it'll be cheaper than taking it to a body shop, and they use it as
On the job learning or whatever.
yeah, exactly. I mean, back in the day, it didn't cost much at all. I'm sure they probably charge more for it now, but yeah, it still wouldn't be as much as taking it to like the collision center or somewhere. Yeah, some body shop.
Or the dealer.
Yeah, oh, good lord. Yeah, I took culinary class out there. I took drafting, and I took like woodworking and
Wood shop is fun.
yeah, it was.
And then metals, and then there was introduction. It was a wood shop with an introduction to metals, and like some plastic where you do like binding all the plastic together, and then you make like a little ring with
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
layers of plastic.
Just have to pay for parts now. Yeah, that'd be cool. I was thinking about my car, little Kia, the paint is like all blistering on the top of it and on the hood. All the clear coat's like coming off. So I was like trying to think of some creative paint job to put on it.
How long
What's that?
how long have you had that car?
Oh, it's like 6 years, I guess. Something like that.
I was thinking it was newer than that. I was surprised that it already is.
It's a 2015. So it's 8 years old. Yeah. It's a friggin' Kia, you know? The paint, yeah. Whatever. Like when the engine blew in it, you know, because I drove for Uber and Lyft. You're done. No. But yeah, the engine blew in it. So $6,500 got a new engine in it. So I'm going to drive the living shit out of this thing now, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The new motor is doing good. I had to pay for it. You know, it tore me a new ass to have to pay that much money for it. But I mean, it's been running good since then, knock on wood. I keep the oil changed. I use synthetic oil in it and keep it changed like every 3,000 miles, which is a little overkill.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking is the new engine when you got the new motor put in.
Yeah. Yeah, $6,500. Kia didn't pay for a cent of it on warranty because they suck. And what did I do? When that car was in the shop being fixed, I bought a van from a friend of mine. And guess what kind of car it is? It's a freaking Kia. I got 2 of them. What the hell's wrong with me? He's like, yeah, I'll sell you my mom's old van. It's a friend of mine that I play music with. And his mom had passed away. And I'd seen this nice black van sitting in the driveway, you know. He's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. And I said, how much you want for it? And he's like, give me $2,500. I was like, all right, I'll think about it. And then when my car totally took a crap, and then my Suburban, I got in it one day and the AC wasn't working, and then the windows quit working in it.
I remember that.
Summer, I was like, yeah, freaking out. And I called him up. I'm like, hey, you still got that van? He's like, yeah, how much you want for it? He's like, give me $2,000. It's okay, I'll be over there this afternoon. He's like, one bad thing. I'm like, what's that? He's like, it's a Kia. I'm like, are you kidding me? But for $2,000, I could probably sell it right now for 25. So easily. But I think I'm going to keep it. I was going to sell it, but we're thinking about keeping it. I was going to take it
back up.
Well, I use it for the band van. It's like that's what I haul all my band in. Took all the seats out of the back, and it's just a van full of band gear on band days. And but I'm thinking about kind of turning it into a camper van.
You should. I already have ideas. I saw these conversion kits the other day. Oh, yep. I got some stuff to show you later.
Cool. Yeah, you know, like I was going to take it down to my buddy's. He's a mechanic, and I know I got some tie rod issues in the front, and I probably need my head gasket replaced, and I got to get the power steering checked out. Just some odds and ends, but you know, I figure if I put a little bit of money into it, I mean, I haven't done anything to it since I bought it. I've just been driving it. You know, I changed the oil and whatever. So I haven't really put any money into it. A new battery, which that was a couple $100. But yeah, but if I put some money into it and get a few issues fixed, I should be able to drive it. You know, if I want to do like a short weekend or trip or whatever. should be okay.
And
But
they
yeah,
have the the beds that fold up, like it can fold into a bed back there.
yeah.
If I find this one girl's name, I can't remember. She's on TikTok, and she's like this spaceship girl. She like makes her whole room looks like a real spaceship and all that. She looks
Hmm.
like the girl from that movie. Can't even think of that either right now. But she just changed a van over,
Huh.
and she had this one thing that was cool on the way back. You open the back of the hatch, and then there's like this little plate that pulls out, and it's like got the heating element on it to be able to cook back there. And it all just tucks and folds away. And
Oh, yeah. I have to check it out. I've been looking at different ideas. Yeah, that's a good idea, Papa Krampus. Well, here's a different nodule off of Mars. Most detailed ever photograph of Mars, moon, Deimos revealed. Anybody heard this one?
no,
Well, it says the image was recently captured by UAE's Emirates Mars mission spacecraft. You might be forgiven for thinking that Mars doesn't actually have any moons, but it does, in fact, have two, Phobos and Deimos, which measure 14 miles and 8 miles across, respectively. They're tiny little moons. Unlike our own moon, these two much smaller moons are more akin to asteroids that some scientists argue may have been captured by the gravitational pull of Mars at some point in the distant past. Up until relatively recently, we've only been able to view Phobos and Deimos from a distance. But now, thanks to a Emirates Mars mission spacecraft, we finally have been given the opportunity to view one of them, Deimos, up closer than it has ever been seen before. The images and observations represent a significant step towards our knowledge of Deimos, its atmosphere, composition, origins, and what it means for our understanding of Mars more broadly. The United Arab Emirates Space Agency said in a statement about the mission. So far, the mission has collected a great deal of interesting data that has suggested, for example, that Deimos is more likely to have originated from Mars itself, which could be put to the captured asteroid theory. It could put the captured asteroid theory to bed once and for all. It'll be interesting to see what the spacecraft discovers over the coming months. And yeah, like if you look at this picture, I'll blow it up a little bit. It's not you can see it, the moon is not like a typical round moon. It's got this big like crease in it or whatever. But it's pretty if it's real, that's debatable. But if it's real, it's a pretty damn good picture of Mars's moon, one of them. It's like a chunk of like bubble gum on the sidewalk. Yeah. Yep. But I don't know. It is a pretty cool picture. You can blow it up even more and see like a lot of what's on the surface of the so-called uninhabitable planet that we plan on inhabiting somehow soon. But yeah, the moon, Deimos, is quite strange looking. It does look more like a big chunk of rock.
it looks like a weird asteroid or something.
Yeah. But yeah, crazy pictures as far as the detail goes. You can blow it way up and still see a lot of cool stuff.
This one made me think of Samuel
Yeah, that's exactly who I thought.
when I first looked at that. So scientists reveal the real face of a 35,000-year-old Egyptian man. Around 35,000 years ago, a man of African ancestry died in what is now Egypt. Predating the first known pharaoh by 32 millennia, no one knows who this man was or what kind of society he lived in. The only archaeological clue was the axe found beside him when his bones were uncovered more than 4 decades ago. Although the details of his life are lost to time, his death is one of the most consequential moments in archaeology. That's because this man, who stood 5 foot 3 inches tall and was between the ages of 17 and 29, is the oldest known Homo sapiens skeleton in Egypt and one of the oldest in the world. And crucially, his skull is remarkably intact. Now, 43 years after its initial discovery, Brazilian scientists have used a process to digitally recreate what this ancient man might have looked like. The skeleton has most of the bones preserved, although there have been some losses. But the skull was well preserved. By piecing together detailed images of the skeleton, scientists created 2 composite images, one black and white image in a neutral state, and another in a more lifelike rendering with facial hair and curly locks. The researchers discovered that the skull itself had a mostly modern structure, though the jaw was much more robust than what's typically found in modern Homo sapiens. A possible genetic leftover from our great ape ancestors. Over the past several years, scientists have rendered many digital recreations from human fossils. They recreated Scotland's legendary King Robert the Bruce using a casting of the original skull. And they also digitally recreated famous faces found in the same region as this one right here. The Brazilian scientists admit that their digital recreation is only an approximation, but because of the sheer age of the skeleton, thank you, ChatGPT,
Yeah.
whatever. This facial facsimile not only puts a face to a little-known era of human history, but also helps scientists understand an important chapter in human evolution. So I'm curious how close they may have got that. I've watched tons of forensics and things like that where they recreated faces using all sorts of different techniques, like the women who use the clay and they have the little markers on the skull where they think the peaks and valleys would be, and they've gotten it really, really close.
Yeah, like Papa Krampus says, it kind of looks, cross between Samuel and Lawrence Fishburne.
Somebody else said Lawrence Fishburne too, and when I posted this.
Yep. We are not men. We are Devo. We are not men. Yeah, it's weird. You hear the whole controversy about what's her name, Jada Pinkett's new movie about, was it Cleopatra?
No.
Yeah, she's portrayed. It's on, I guess, Netflix. She's portrayed as a strong black woman.
Oh, you know what? I did see an article. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't read it though.
It's gotten all kinds of stank about that.
I just saw it was something to do with Cleopatra.
Yeah.
I just found out Steven Spielberg had edited out a gun for the remake of E.T. I think it was like a cop's hand, and so then he put a walkie-talkie in the place, and now he's saying he regrets it. I didn't even know they edited it out to begin with, but how ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
The people doing this segment, it was that Guthrie, whatever, Gutfield.
Gutfield, yeah.
It's jackass. That was just on, when I was doing something, so I was listening to them talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I prefer the old days. We
But
didn't have to worry about offending everyone with, no matter what you say, you're going to offend somebody. So I just say, fuck them all.
Yeah, and they think that one of the reasons why he's coming out and saying how he regrets it is because he realizes what that means. Like, by giving that initial power, like when people give their rights away, oh, I'm just going to give it, for this reason, not realizing the floodgate, that now they can go back through his whole library and change whatever they want.
You need to do this. You need to do this. This is bad. This is discriminating. This is offensive. Dude, you want offensive? Watch Blazing Saddles. That movie was funny as hell, but couldn't make it today. Could not make that movie today. So was Amelia Earhart really eaten by giant crabs? What a way to go, man. What a way to go, Crash a plane on a deserted island, and then, you succumb to injuries and giant crabs come and eat you. Hey, crabs got to eat too, right? Oh, man. One enduring theory suggests that the aviator's remains were disposed of by coconut crabs in Nikamararo, however you say that, the island, more than 82 years after Amelia Earhart disappeared over the Pacific Ocean during the attempt to circumnavigate the globe in her Lockheed Model 10 Electra. The question of what happened to her continues to remain one of the biggest unanswered mysteries of the modern age. In recent years, clues have been found suggesting that Earnhardt's plane, did I just say Earnhardt? I did. Yeah. And Dale Earnhardt's plane may have gone down somewhere in the remote Pacific atoll of Nikamarora, and the aviator and her navigator, Fred Noonan, may have even survived for several days on a small island while awaiting rescue. If that's true, however, then why have their remains not been found there? Interestingly, 13 human bones were actually found on the island in 1940 by British colonial officer George Gallagher. However, these have been sadly lost since then, making further study impossible. Good going. Just got to keep some bones. Don't lose them. I don't know where I put them. Some research fed them to the dog. Some researchers believe that the reason so few bones were found was because Earhart, not Earnhardt's, remains have been devoured and dragged off by coconut crabs, which can grow up to 3 foot across. That's some big-ass crabs. If so, they argue some of her bones could still be scattered and possibly buried across the island. If it were possible to locate even one such bone, it could help solve the mystery once and for all. So, I don't know. Did she get eaten by crabs? Or did something else happen? Was she abducted by aliens? Yeah, the African Cleopatra has made the Egyptians very angry. Yeah,
she very well could have been eaten by the crabs.
She could have, yeah. I mean, crabs are like, whoa, meat party. Before it goes bad.
Because those are big crabs.
Yeah, they are pretty big.
But how long would it take, I wonder, for them to clean a body?
Probably not long. And they're big enough to drag bones away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, her bones could be scattered all over the place, or they could not be there at all. But, then again, 13 human bones were found. So they're either hers or her navigators, or who else could they have been on this uninhabited island? Uninhabited. How long has it been uninhabited? Nobody knows. Could have been inhabited at one point. Could be 1,000 bones on that island if they were to look. Who knows? I don't know. Just thinking about getting eaten by crabs. Ooh, scary. It's like giant spiders.
I was trying to come up with a bone and crab pun the whole time, and I couldn't.
Yeah. You ever had crabs that big? Woo wee.
Well, our old friend Bill Gates ventures to he wants to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What could go wrong? Now, this article here that I'm about to read was from 2021, but I'm only reading it because if you've noticed outside, the sun has been a lot dimmer. So this project has been going into like full force operation, I think the beginning of this year, fall of last year, but pretty much since the beginning of this year. March and April have been the heaviest right now.
But if you talk about it on Facebook, you can read the articles almost all over the place. But if you talk about it on Facebook, then they want to hit you for spreading disinformation.
Yeah, because they say none of this is true. But you can Google sun dimming, Google cloud seeding. No. It wants to update my Windows. Wait.
We want to update your Windows in the middle of your show.
How do I?
You need to be a nuisance. But we will. Totally. See, you started talking about Bill Gates and
yeah.
And here he comes with his Windows, Microsoft. Oh, we're going to update you right now. You don't need to talk about me.
It's not even letting me pause it. Okay, wait. Extend for 4 weeks. Okay.
Drop him off at that deserted crab island. Exactly.
Have you seen the Chrome commercials? Oh, keep your passwords safe with Chrome. Like everybody, you're all unique with your unique passwords. Store them all in Chrome.
Yeah. Sure.
So this article tells a little bit about what's going on, but if you look down my timeline, you can see a lot of my rants and everything on it. And I've got a lot of really good videos and documentaries regarding this. But you can Google sun dimming, Google cloud seeding in your state. It'll actually tell you, I don't know how much is fabricated, but the levels and what their statistics are for these different projects. Northern California is a heavy zone because of the Pacific Ocean right here. I just found that out recently. But yeah, they do it in Dubai for the heat. They did it for the Olympics in China. The country has said they want to do it to combat the climate crisis. They just haven't said that they're actually doing it already because of the unethical standpoint of it. Yeah. Microsoft's, and this is who's funding it, the same guy who's buying up most of our farmland. Microsoft's billionaire founder Bill Gates is financially backing the development of sun dimming technology that would potentially reflect sunlight out of the Earth's atmosphere, triggering a global cooling effect. The stratospheric controlled perturbation experiment, launched by Harvard University scientists, aims to examine the solution by spraying non-toxic calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere. There's sodium dioxide, ammonia, aluminum, tons of heavy metals. Like it's in our soil, it's in our water already. We breathe probably, I can't remember how many trillions of nanoparticles with every breath of fresh air that we're breathing.
Yeah.
And it's like an aerosol. So they're saying it's non-toxic calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere, a sun-reflecting aerosol that may offset the effects of global warming. Widespread research into the efficiency of solar geoengineering has been stalled for years due to controversy. Opponents believe such science comes with unpredictable risks, including extreme shifts in weather patterns, not dissimilar to warming trends we are already witnessing. This is why we had the crazy winter recently where we were buried by snow and drowned like rats. That was the cloud seeding for precipitation and snow. That's why the erratic weather changes.
Yeah.
Environmentalists they fear that a dramatic shift in migration strategy will be treated as a green light to continue emitting greenhouse gases with little to no changes in current consumption and production patterns. It will take this SPOPEX will take a small step in its early research this June near a town in Sweden where the Space Corporation has agreed to help launch a balloon carrying scientific equipment 12 miles high. The launch will not release any stratospheric aerosols. Rather, it will serve as a test to maneuver the balloon and examine communications and operational systems. If successful, this could be a step towards a second experimental stage that would release a small amount of the CaCO3 dust into the atmosphere. I have a video of a plane just a few days ago. Instead of it just being under both wings, there were 3 sprays coming out. There was smoke or aerosol coming out of each wing and then under the plane also. And it was billowing out like big puffs. I've never seen it like that before. And I've been watching this 25 plus years. The trails of it now take forever to dissipate. I was recording one earlier for like 6 minutes just to show how it sits there, and I had to stop just because I don't have the space for all this.
Yeah.
David Keith, a professor of applied physics and public policy at Harvard University, recognizes the very many real concerns of geoengineering. It is true that no one knows what will happen until it's released and then studied afterwards. So they're experimenting on us.
Yep.
Keith and fellow scientists published a paper in 2017 suggesting that the dust might actually replenish the ozone layer by reacting with ozone-destroying molecules. Further research on this and similar methods could lead to reductions in risks and improved efficiency of solar engineering methods. Also, they're pushing solar energy on us in California, but they're dimming the sun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's another way that they can control us by controlling the amount of sunlight that we won't be able to grow our food. I mean, there's just multitudes of reasons why this is not a good idea to be experimenting on us. Plus, what I've been watching recently, I can tell the difference in what they've already been doing from the difference in the wind chill and the temperatures. I can see that it is actually cooling, but there's something that happens at night where the heat, they're actually not doing what they, in theory, are wanting to do, because you're seeing the way it's like counter doing it because of nighttime and certain things is trapping the heat down. It's just not working the way I think they want it to. So I think they should just stop it like right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, it's just not good. The earth we've gone thousands of years without screwing with the sun and the weather, and
and we're creating the crisis that they're saying they're trying to combat. And you can't have real statistics when they're not putting in the man manipulation into these statistics. Like, well, how would it be? You need to stop this. What are they saying? 300 years, it's going to rise like 1/8 of an inch or whatever they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to stop the so-called global warming. Well, stop freaking ripping out all the trees and building shit and covering stuff in concrete, and asphalt. What are the trees? What are the plants? What does all that do? Gives us clean air and oxygen. Take them all away, we're going to have shitty air and oxygen. It doesn't take a scientist to figure that out,
Plus, plants need photosynthesis. Like, we need the sun. We need the sun. We saw what happened with the dinosaurs when I mean,
I don't know, man.
And the increase in solar activity or solar, like the UV ratings have been like at 100%, like everything's been super high. We've had a lot of, right now we're having a level 4 geometric storm happening. All these poles getting ripped in the sun, blowing these solar storms at us. That's why we're getting the increase of the aurora lights right now.
Yeah.
So if you're blocking the sun and shielding it, and the sun lets off UV light, what gases, does gas come off the sun, or is it just light?
Yeah, both.
So that has to be released, right? Like off the sun. Now, if you're shielding it and bouncing it back at the sun, what kind of effects could happen from that?
Yeah, exactly. It's not natural, man.
And this isn't something political. This doesn't matter what color you are, what sex you are. This is your earth. This is what you breathe. We only have one earth. People ask, okay, because this is something I always wondered. Well, how are they? They're doing this to themselves. Like, if they're poisoning the earth, how do they avoid it? Which, even though I know that they're doing this, I've always wondered too.
Yeah.
Just recently, I found out that these people, like the meteorologists and the pilots and everybody, sign non-disclosure agreements about this. The people who are doing this and the elites get something, I can't remember the term for it, but it's like a blood filtering where they flush all your blood through some filtering and back through you to remove the heavy metals. And then there's like detox things, treatments that they do once a year to clean their body of these heavy, metal buildups. So that's why, money talks. And
yep. Exactly.
And they're just doing it to us. Everyone looking down at their phones, you could look up and see. They're still trying to say it's condensation. Most of these planes can't even create the type of condensation that they're saying is happening. They're not capable of making it.
Exactly.
So, and this is just something that I think is really important, that, I don't want to tell people how to think, but if you Google it, look at the things when they're saying, oh, it's a controversy, and read what they're saying about it, because that is pretty much the facts about it. And, look at some of these documentaries and things, and then just watch for yourself what's going on and draw your own conclusions. Look up these metals and things that they're putting in the air and see what health risks are associated with it. And, come to your own conclusion, what you think about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's crazy as hell. I think it's dangerous. It's making us sick. It's making kids sick. It's making our animals sick. It's in our soil, our drinking water, our air.
Yep. Yeah, I don't see how, I mean, who owns the air, Does one company own the air? Do everybody on Earth own the air, How does one group or one person get the authority to change the Earth's atmosphere? How does somebody like Fauci have the okay to affect the entire globe with something, I mean, I don't know.
One sun, who gives them the right to mess with? Oh, I froze.
Yeah.
There's one sun who gives them the right to screw with the one sun. Like, isn't that all of our sun?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, JL. Joni Mitchell had it right way back in the day.
That's Janice.
Yep. Put up a parking lot. Didn't they take all the trees, put them in a museum, and charge everybody $1 to see them? Sounds like, what's where we're headed. These are called trees, children. They used to be everywhere.
Yeah. That's sad.
It is, but it's kind of true.
All
Just
the bugs.
here in my one little, town that I live in, I'll go drive somewhere and like, holy shit, man. They just right down the road from me, just leveled the forest. They're building some more houses, took every tree out. At least when I cleaned my little piece of property in the back, had it cleaned, I got them to leave a few trees. I don't want it just raped of every tree and bush there, So you look out in my backyard and there's like some pine trees and there's, a couple of palm trees that I wanted them to leave. Sure, would I had more room if all the trees were gone? Yeah, but no, that's not how I roll. I don't know.
There's no more, it's been at least 12 years since I remember seeing garden snails on the sidewalk. You don't see the snail trails out here anymore.
Yeah.
Snail trail. And the praying mantises, the grasshoppers, the ladybugs, all of that is it's a rare thing to see any of these. The frogs,
Yeah.
the banana slugs, where are they all?
Yep.
Maybe why birds fall out of the sky.
Yeah. It's I don't know. They rip out all the trees, all the bushes, all the palmettos, everything. And there's tons of, snakes and frogs and lizards and snails and every little animal that, or insect or reptile or whatever, turtles, whatever that live there. They're either crushed or ground up when they're clearing the land, or they're run the hell out of there and they got nowhere to live. People around here, there's a snake in my yard. Well, no shit. It's because this used to be a forest. And, I'm guilty of it too. I live here, but I don't freak out when I see snakes or lizards in my yard. It's like their home way before it was mine,
Yeah, you cohabitate.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. Didn't mean to, rip you and your family out of your house that you've had here for 100 years.
Yeah. And then they say, oh, now we have to kill all the deer because it's overpopulated.
Yep. Oh, just like the soy fields and this and that. And, got to stop eating meat and eat this plant-based stuff, Well, yeah, all the fields that they grow that shit in is the same thing, Every little animal, mole, grasshopper, bird, squirrel, turtle, whatever lived there. They either got killed and ground up when they were clearing the land to grow those soybeans or whatever, or the pesticides that they put on that shit killed them all.
Yeah.
Well, here's a strange woman emerges from cave after spending 500 days completely alone. Who could do that? Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Who could do this? 500 days, 30 days, sure. Pretty much anybody could do it. It'd drive a lot of people crazy. 500 days, that's quite some time. That's a commitment. This remarkable stunt was part of an experiment to help scientists better understand the effects of extreme isolation. A year and a half alone in a cave might sound like a nightmare to a lot of people, but Spanish athlete Beatriz Flamini emerged with a cheerful grin and said she thought she had more time to finish her book. She had almost no contact with the outside world during her impressive feat of human endurance. For 500 days, she documented her experiences to help scientists understand the effects of extreme isolation. One of the first things that became apparent on April 12th, 2023, when she emerged from the cave, was how fluid time is, shaped by more of your personality traits and the people around you other than a ticking clock. When talking to reporters about her experience, she explained that she rapidly lost her sense of time. The loss of time was so profound that when her support team came to retrieve her, she was surprised that her time was up. Instead of believing she believed that she had only been in there for 160 to 170 days instead of 500. Why did she lose her sense of time? Our actions, emotions, and changes in our environment can have powerful effects on the way in which our minds process time. For most people, the rising and setting of the sun mark the passing of days, and work and social routines mark the passing of hours. In the darkness of an underground cave without the company of others, many signals of passing time will have disappeared. So she may have become more reliant on the psychological process to monitor time. On a way in which we keep track of the passings of time is memory. If we don't know how long we've been doing something for, we use the number of memories formed during the event as an index to amount of the time that has passed. The more memories we form in an event or era, the longer we perceive it to have lasted. Busy days and weeks filled with lots of novel and exciting events are typically remembered as longer than more monotonous ones with nothing noteworthy happening. For Flamini, I guess that's how you say her name, the absence of social interaction combined with a lack of information about family and current affairs, the war in Ukraine, the reopening of society after COVID lockdowns, may have significantly reduced the number of memories she formed during her isolation. She herself noted, I'm still stuck on November 21st in 2021. I don't know anything about the world after that. It would be kind of trippy. The loss of time may have also reflect reduced importance of time in cave life. In the outside world, the busyness of modern life and social pressure to avoid wasting time means many of us live in a perpetual state of time stress. For us, a clock is a gauge of how productive and successful we are as adults. Goes on quite a bit longer. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the things at one of the places I worked at, the t-shirt place. There was a sign up there that somebody made on the wall, and it said, "Time doesn't exist, clocks exist." And that was like my favorite sign there, because you're at work and you're always looking at the clock, thinking, "God, when do I get out of here? Holy shit, it's only been an hour. Seems like it's been 10 hours." But yeah, when you're aware of time, it's like every morning when I wake up, I wake up and I try to guess what time it is without looking at the clock. And I'm usually within like 30 minutes. Sometimes I'm like within a minute. Sometimes I nail it perfectly, but other times I've been like 3 hours off. But
it makes me think about when you're in a casino and
yeah,
they purposely.
Yeah, you totally lose track of time and space and everything else in a casino, especially if you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, no clocks and no windows in a casino. So you don't know if it's day or night. You don't know what time it is. All you know is you're getting free cigars and free drinks and cheap food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did like that in Vegas. Go get like a steak and potato and a salad. It was like $6.95.
Yeah, like the buffet, like the Harrah's buffet was the shit.
Yep.
This one here, this person owns a pub that they claim is haunted. And so they've got video of some people just sitting there while a glass explodes mysteriously. And then they had another incident where something similar had happened. The pictures down there are the other person. The one on the top is the one I'm reading about, and then there's like a little article or little 30-second clip for it. Some ghosts say boo, but at least one of them says brew. Surveillance video captured the moment a half-drunk pint glass randomly exploded at an English bar, and now the owners believe it's evidence that they own a paranormal pub. The potential poltergeist activity happened on Monday in England. In the video, a workman is seen drinking a beer and chatting with two friends at lunch. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the half-filled beer mug spontaneously combusts, spewing beer and glass all over the table and diners. The group was left shocked and covered in beer and shards of glass as they sat around the paranormal pint. Andy, who runs the bar with his wife, Katie, was serving customers when he heard the commotion and looked over to see one of the customers looking pretty wet with lager. When the pub owner went back to check on the customer, he was told that the pint randomly exploded right in front of the man. At first, I thought the glass might have had a hairline crack after coming out of the washer and the cold lager caused it to break. But then he realized if that had happened, you wouldn't expect it to explode. And he'd already drank half the drink, so the glass was clearly cold. Going through the security tapes, I suddenly realized that another customer had lost his drink at the same time in December. He had sat down at the same table, and his pint looked like it had been pushed onto the floor. He admitted that locals insist the pub is haunted by a former tenant named Dave, who used to live in the apartment above the pub. My wife and I have been running the pub for 7 months, but we'd since been told it's haunted. Apparently, a tenant called Dave lived in the flat above the pub, and one night he drank a bottle of brandy, had a heart attack, and died. The owners speculate that maybe his spirit is around the pub and he's desperately trying to pinch people's drinks. Or maybe he says, "No, don't drink, you're going to die." The Gaspies don't seem to be too scared by their supposedly haunted pub and are having fun with their potentially paranormal patron. Andy said it's very mysterious and the two incidents have spooked people out.
Play the video here. Yeah, you see him just sitting around. Boom! A glass of beer just right in front of the guy with the orange jacket on.
Dean's like, did you
do that? What the hell's going on here? Maybe somebody
That's pretty crazy.
Maybe somebody was trying to kill him and shoot him. With his beer.
I mean, it looked like there was a fire, like a cherry bomb at the bottom of that glass.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, I could see the glass, cracking or something, but I mean, yeah, that thing like blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a trip. Yeah.
So I don't know what to think of it.
Yeah, pretty trippy.
Because the beer, like, it's the way it even comes out and blows out, which is weird. So if the glass broke, you would think like the beer would have come out a different way. It's just weird the way it's like up and over the top of the glass like that.
Yeah, it was like you said, like there was something in the bottom of it that like blew it out or something. It's crazy.
And like these people, I don't think it was staged either, because none of them are wearing like glasses, sunglasses, or eye protection. Like if you're going to do something like that and you knew you're going to be leaning in over a glass that's going to explode like that, you think you'd be worried about your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, this dude even has a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
They're on top of his head. Yeah, that's pretty weird. Definitely a weird one. Yeah, like Janice said back up there talking about the lady that spent 500 days in the cave. She said, I suspect many felt they came close to 500 days during lockdown. Lockdown, that is another thing that did freak a lot of people out, you know, especially people that were like, you know, social butterfly people. All of a sudden they're, you know, they get locked in their house and you don't see anybody. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything.
Now they're talking about the damage like that's done to especially like the Gen Z kids.
Yeah.
That there's actual psychological damage that was done because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stupid stuff too. You know, like I just saw in Memories here a sign, and they did this here. You know, the beach.
God.
It was open from 6 a.m. to noon. You know, and no other physical activity. It was just open for walking or swimming. No other activities were allowed on the beach. It's like, really, you know, it's like the guy that they arrested. I think it was out in California. Guy was out. He was either on a surfboard or a paddleboard.
Yeah.
Only one in the ocean, you know, only guy out there, not around anybody. And they like made a huge big deal and arrested him, you know, called in the Coast Guard to come get him because he wouldn't come in. It's like, really?
And now they're revisiting too that it was so stupid to even close the schools down like that. They're from the beginning, they even said, you know, it doesn't pass between the kids aren't like at risk and high risk, blah blah blah, and that they were too quick to shut schools down and not try to prevent schools from closing down.
Yeah.
That the whole incident, it's going to take a long time for us to recover from all this.
Yeah. Well, speaking of weird things around the world, I know y'all have heard or seen this. Maybe you've even heard it in person. But this is popping back up around the internet, the interwebs. Trumpet sounds from the sky are getting weirder all over the world. Yeah, it's like all, you know, here, South Carolina, North Carolina, you know, all the way up the coast, inland, you know, over in Europe, like people all over the world are hearing weird noises. And it was happening.
Wasn't this a while ago? Like there was a story about this?
Yeah, but it's been coming back up again.
Damn.
And I've even heard, you know, it's probably 2 years ago now. I've heard some weird noises that I can't really explain what they were.
We had an incident like that here too, and I didn't know if this was like after COVID. This was like maybe like 6 or 8 months after, and I thought it was what's it called, the rapture coming or something, because like the sky got like totally red and dark and weird, and then there was like this weird pounding beat in the like, and it was blowing with the clouds. I'm like, this isn't someone's car or a stereo or a pop-up party, because there were like little pop-up parties.
Yeah.
And I posted about it, and then there was another day we heard it again, like, but it sounded like it was blowing in the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if that could have been something like that, because I still don't know what those noises were. And she heard it too. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah. So for several years, people around the world have reported hearing strange noises coming from the sky. These noises have been described as loud booms, metallic clangs, humming, or even trumpet-like sounds. Some people have recorded these sounds and uploaded them to social media platforms, where they have generated curiosity and speculation. What are these mysterious sounds, and where do they come from? A series of loud and unusual sounds from an invisible source, which began in March of 2023, as if coming from the sky, continues to flow around the world, frightening people who are faced with the phenomenon. Usually after this phenomenon, skeptics come running to the local media and start telling fairy tales about Transformers, but most often there's no artificial no official explanation for any of these. Meanwhile, the sounds continue. And the other day, a video from Colombia resurfaced on the internet. There's a ton of videos on the internet, and I got one here. I think I got one here. Let me double check that. Yeah, I do. Let's see if it'll play. Here we go.
It's creepy.
Yeah, so if you're just out,
Gates of hell closing or something.
yeah, or opening one, or big orchestra tuning up. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard like explanations that it's like plates, that are underground, like moving and rubbing together and all. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty freaking weird. There's those noises which are. Welcome to Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Is the freaking T-Rex going to come running around the corner? What's going on here? And yeah, I don't know. Pretty weird. There's those noises, and then, like I say, there's the pounding, big noises like that, and there's like grinding noises, and it's pretty strange. I came across one video. They're saying in the video that it was a Bigfoot. They think it's a Bigfoot, but it's something out in the woods. This guy's out in his backyard, and he's like, "Listen to this shit." He's like, "I don't know what the hell it is," and it's like this gnarly, screaming, deep voiced something. I don't, could just be an animal of some sort. But, if I was out in the woods at night and I heard that, yeah, my butt cheeks would be rather tight, and I'd be one foot in front of the other, getting out of there. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what it is?
In Poland, a female vampire skeleton was found in a 17th century graveyard. The skeletal remains of what may have been a female vampire were found in a 17th century Polish graveyard with a sickle across its neck to prevent the woman from rising from the dead. Professor he headed up the archaeological dig that led to the discovery of the skeleton. The sickle was not laid flat, but placed on the neck in such a way that if the deceased had tried to get up, most likely the head would have been cut off or injured. The remains discovered in the village appeared to be of a young woman buried in the 17th century. According to a press release, traces of a silk cap on her head suggested she was from a higher social status. Such a discovery, especially here in Poland, is astonishing, especially now, centuries later. A triangular padlock was placed around the big toe on her left foot, an indicator that the people who buried the woman were concerned that she may rise from the grave, perhaps because they thought she was a vampire. The remains, which were discovered in August, are being further investigated by scientists. Researchers from the Institute of Archaeology at the University of Krakow will study DNA from the skeleton to learn more about the woman. The practice of vampire burials spanned Christian Europe from as early as the 14th century all the way to the 17th century. Outbreaks of vampires were often associated with times when people were dying from causes that could not be explained with the science of the time, like a pandemic or a mass poisoning. These vampires start to hunt and kill family members first, then the neighbors, and then all the other village. This is the classical pattern of a disease that is contagious, he said. He discovered the remains of a woman in Venice who had died in the 16th century, which he showed through careful scientific examination was a vampire burial site. The remains were found in a mass grave filled with victims of the plague. This body had a stone placed carefully in its mouth. The belief at the time was that people could become vampires that chewed through their shrouds and rose from the dead to bite the living and spread the plague. Later on, as the lore evolved, people believed that vampires were rising from the dead and strangling people at night. He said this may be a way to explain the chest pain caused by the leading cause of death in Europe at the time, tuberculosis. It's only in Victorian times that vampires were said to bite the neck and suck the blood, a trope that was used in books at the time as a sort of metaphor for sex, he says. He then says more research is needed to confirm that this was the burial of someone suspected to be a vampire. There were many superstitions surrounding death in Europe at that time, and not all of them had to do with vampires. Bodies had been found locked in their final resting place, nailed to the bottom of the grave, with stones weighing down their feet, or with thorns of roses on their graves. These were all ways to keep the body from rising up. The sickle could mean something completely different. For instance, a 2015 paper looking at Poland remains buried with sickles. Historians suggested the tools used in agriculture could be a sign of social status. Bodies that were clearly thought at risk of being vampires have been found with stakes through their hearts, beheaded, burned, or with stones in the mouth. The fact that the feet were locked in the graves is something well known, not necessarily for vampires, but for all the situations in which we had the fear that the person was coming back, he said. I want to know if they found this in a graveyard, like how they call it discovering this body. Like, weren't they buried?
Exactly.
Like at rest. And so how did you discover this burial site? Like, it sounds like you were digging in a vampire's burial site to find the other one.
Yeah, again, that always raises that question of
where's the line?
Where's the line? Where's research or just digging up dead people? It's like one of these days, are we going to get dug up? Wow, look at this guy.
I don't know. We'll probably get blown up, so we're not going to get buried.
Yeah. Get burnt up.
Go back to the stars.
There's a star, man. Well, I'm out of articles. I just got my Crystal of the Week video. So
okay, I'll do the UFO crashed one and then save the other one.
Right.
This is just a photo somebody claims they think is a crashed spaceship on Mars. So this dude was going through some, NASA footage, Scott, and he believes he found something in an image from the Mars Perseverance rover's video feed, which he thinks is a 10-meter disk that was crashed into the surface of the planet. He described it as a perfect circle. Scott suspects it could be an alien craft, but he fears that if Elon Musk gets to Mars first, he could claim it for himself. He says, I was looking at a Mars Perseverance rover photo when I realized there was a metallic disc of about 10 meters in diameter stuck into the top of the hill. Also nearby, there's a human-like sculpture carved into a large stone. The carving is about 2.5 meters long. Often NASA adds too much light to drown out all the important details. I added some shadow and deepening to reveal these important archaeological discoveries. Can you imagine how important it would be to any country on Earth to get a hold of an alien disc? It's Elon Musk's dream come true, and since his people will be first to land on Mars, such technology will be claimed by him. And this is the same guy who spotted the pink and green plant growing on the red planet.
Ah. Pink and green little alien dude
Yeah.
sitting back in the chair. This one's more believable. You know,
Because
could be a
it's-
rock, but you know, could be a rock or something, but could be a disc too. Not a lot of detail, but
Yeah.
truth is out there. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be something. I think, I don't know shit from Shinola, but my gut instinct tells me that at one point in time there was some form of life on Mars. I don't know. Maybe not, but just seems like it. And same with the moon. I think there's a lot of weird stuff on the moon. I don't have anything to prove it. That's just what my
Intuition.
intuition tells me. There's a lot more on the moon than they are letting us know about. And I think,
Sure.
yeah, I think there's been some sort of life form on Mars, or at least some sort of life form has visited Mars. Because there's a lot of weird things there, you know, that just sure, you know, oh yeah, that's just an organic structure. Dude, it looks like a human or some sort of head. That's a hell of an organic carving, you know, to be made by, you know, wind and sand. But I don't know. What do I know? Nothing, right?
And then there was that, what was it, Norway, that just had that moon mission. They say that they have to presume it got lost. But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, did it really get lost? Or are you guys doing something,
Or was that-
it's just easy to say it got lost?
Yeah. Japan had one that was going to land on the moon that they lost contact with it.
You see?
How much shit's up there just floating around, you know, uncontrolled? Probably surprised because we don't really hear about, you know, Japan and China and, you know, anybody else that has, you know, space exploration. You don't hear much about it, if any at all. You know, Russia. I mean, everybody, all these other countries, they're trying to get to the moon too. Still blows my mind. I have questions of why we could do it in the 60s, the late 60s, but we can't do it today. Seriously? There's some fishery going on there.
Definitely.
I don't, you know, I haven't heard a good explanation. Oh, you know, they always come up with a reason. But it's like, dude, look at the supposedly ship from, you know, the late 60s that went to the moon compared to what we have now, and we still can't get there. Come on.
But yet they want to reach for Mars instead, which is at least a less habitable planet. Like,
Yeah.
what? So are you done with the moon? Like, are you already seeing everything you need to see, so it's not that interesting anymore? Like, why not explore the moon first? Like,
Yeah.
why Mars like first?
Elon or whoever, NASA, Elon, Japan, whoever gets to the moon, I want to see him get to the moon and do a live broadcast from the moon. You know, we
Did
should
you
be
see
able
that
to
video?
do about the green screen thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't know, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one stinking bit.
Because it wasn't the same exact movement he was doing, because he was holding that ball, and then and the other one he had something else in his hand. So it's like I wanted to see the actual one of him holding the ball.
Yeah.
To look like what he was doing in front of the supposed screen.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I posted that video. It came up in like memories or something. I posted it a long time ago, but it was the one, you know, what's his name? I can't think of his name. The director that died that supposedly filmed all the moon landings, you know, and we're saying it was fake. Oh, that's not really him, whatever. I just posted it as a goof, but you know, of course, Facebook, you know, came freaking out on my doorstep because I was spreading misinformation that wasn't true.
Oh, brother.
Not true. No, it hasn't really been proven that it wasn't true, but you guys say so. So, you know, we'll all believe it, but whatever.
It's like, so what are we allowed to post? You know, like, so what news sources do you say is okay for us to post from? Like, shoot.
Yeah.
Nazis.
I don't know. I just find it awful weird that we could, you know, the late 60s space exploration went to the moon. We walked around on it. We flew back from it. We landed here. But yet we can't do that today. It's not because, you know, it's like, is it because we don't want to go back to the moon? Is it because we're not supposed to go back to the moon? Or is it because we can't get back to the moon? Got to be one or the other. You know, we've seen everything we need to see in the moon. No, you haven't. You know, they're talking about mining stuff on the moon now. And making a permanent, you know, space station on the moon and everything else. But you got to get there first.
Exactly.
I don't know. Reverse engineer that spaceship. The Apollo, whatever. Get you some Atari computers and duct tape and crazy glue.
Yeah.
Allen wire and some tin shed parts.
Some bubble gum.
Yeah. It just doesn't add up to sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Whatever. Probably.
They would like you to believe that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the crystal of the week?
Well, let's do it. Here we go. The crystal of the week. This week's crystal of the week. It's brucite. Have you heard of it? Brucite is a magnesium hydroxide mineral that crystallizes in the form of masses, plates, crusts, fibers, and small tubular crystals. It can be seen in a variety of colors such as blue, green, white, yellow, pink, red, and even colorless. Brucite occurs in a low temperature hydrothermal vein in a metamorphic transformed by heat and pressure limestone. This crystal can also occur in marble when it is at the alteration of similar magnesium mineral known as precise. Many common minerals found near or in association with brucite include serpentine, dolomite, aragonite, calcite, and magnesite. Brucite was first discovered in 1824 by American mineralogist Archibald Bruce. He was in his lab examining an unknown magnesium-heavy mineral from New Jersey. He realized that it was an entirely new piece of earth in his hands, so he chose to name it after himself. Archibald was also the first person to correctly analyze zincite material that came out of Sussex County, New Jersey. Since then, brucite can be found in all across the globe, and new deposits are recently being discovered in Wad, a town in the Kudzar district of Baluchistan, Pakistan. Sure, I probably demolished that word. In suburban of Pakistan. Other notable localities include Italy, Russia, Spain, the United States, Germany, Austria, China, and Australia. Some of the meanings and the energy in brucite. It harmonizes well with our solar plexus chakra and helps one access their personal will. Your ultimate desires and ambitions become the center of attention, with one's conscious mind finally able to understand their spirit's mission. Often, our dreams, becoming an everyday reality, get continuously suppressed by societal needs or external forces. However, brucite assists in relinquishing the stronghold that those outside forces have on us, while strengthening our inner being. One's light body or soul contains the secrets of success and provides a pathway to a lifetime full of joy and happiness. All one must do is become more in touch with themselves and follow their purest form of intuition. This action is our soul speaking to us, providing one with answers during the most indecisive times. As one continues to read, listen, and understand what their spirit is saying, they will be better informed at what their purpose in this world is. Many of the lost souls in this world struggle with this exact problem and believe in seeking outside help during this time. As that may be right for some people, we truly believe in harnessing the energy of one's soul power within while channeling it directly into the areas that it need to be. Channeling energy, brucite is one of the strongest channeling minerals we know of and can also have a direct impact on one's energy level. This mineral raises our overall vibration, provides endless rays of light to our etheric body. One will begin to feel their energy regenerate, raising one's self-confidence and focus to new heights. Brucite gives you determination to take decisive action and make a change to better yourself. This crystal is an extremely potent life talisman, and we recommend meditating with it. Doing so will only conduct you to brucite's energies, which will in turn help you better understand your higher self. It's also been known to help in wound healing. So there you go. A little bit about brucite. This week's crystal of the week. So there you go. A little bit about brucite. I have a piece. I got a piece right there. You can sort of kind of see it. It's a cool yellow. It's got where it came from. Let's see. This came from brucite. Saifullah Baluchistan, Pakistan is where this came from. So whatever that B word is in that region, that's where this actually came from. And,
I like the zombie green kind of color, or yellow, but to me it's like zombie green.
Yeah.
Like that neon fluorescent.
Yep.
Like the highlighters.
It's my, yeah, exactly. My color changing lights. So we got for $9.99.
Are you out of your mind?
You know it. So yeah.
I can't wait to stretch my leg out. I've had it all cramped under the desk this whole time.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the world anymore these days. Of course, the big news is where's Tucker Carlson going to show back up at?
I seen him pop up on something earlier. I downloaded the video because I didn't get to watch it yet, but it looked like he was reporting from his, doing some sort of update from his house.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got no worries.
They need him way more than he needed them.
Yeah. But
he can make a lot
if
without them.
they thought he was bad
Hmm.
before, if he does his own thing, he's going to be unleashed.
I knew this was coming too. Like, I don't know if it was last week. All of a sudden, he had like all these videos I noticed where he was outside, like the back of the studio or something,
Yeah.
doing the Tucker Carlson originals. And he was interviewing person after person. Like, he had a prepper, he had the guy come on that made the bug food, which he tasted the burger. I'm like, don't give in. Don't even bite it. Don't give him that. But I was like, damn, he's hitting a lot of really important topics. Like, they're not going to like this, but he got it out there.
Yeah.
I tweeted him to talk about, if he could do something about the sun dimming, but it was like 2 days before he got fired.
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't firing. It was an amicable agreement.
He said, I'll see you guys on Monday. He thought he was coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's, like, oh, if you do this or say this, then you'll never work in this town again. So in a case like that, maybe he decided not to put them on blast and say it was amicable, just to not screw things up so he could get another job in journalism, since it's all owned by the same people. So I don't see that as like taking a knee, because he always still keeps it real. Where like Hannity, there's been a lot of instances that I can tell he has taken a knee for the sake of not wanting to rock a boat or risk his job. So he plays the game. And it's like, ooh, you sold out. You sold out there. Always wanting to push his book, But Tucker always kept it real.
Yeah.
He admitted when he got things wrong.
Yep. Yeah. Most reporters don't want to ever do that.
Like, that's true journalism. That's what we're missing. Like, that's a real journalist.
Yeah.
And his laugh, and I always want to like tuffle his like curly little hair.
Exactly.
Now he seems like a good guy. I
Yeah.
don't know, some people were like, oh, he's an ass to women, and called someone like a see you next Tuesday. And I'm thinking, well, they probably were. And it was probably like at work, in the office. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold that against somebody or judge a personality by it unless, I see otherwise. But my intuition is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Turquoise. And then they were also saying like he's gotten just too much to handle, that they can't handle him anymore because he's too much of like a liability.
The boy right there's a wild card. We need to simmer him down some.
Yeah, we need to shut that boy up.
Yeah, he may come back way heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Way heavier hitting than he was. Depends on if he's going to do his own thing or, work for somebody, work on another network. Who knows?
But everybody that's followed him says, they'll follow him, and I'll watch wherever he goes. I'll go, listen. Now, if it's a subscription thing, I can't subscribe to everybody's stuff. And that's when free speech, I'm not paying for speech, it's supposed to be free. I shouldn't have to pay to hear it.
Yeah.
But I'll follow where he goes if I can.
Yep.
He's another source, I listen to. I get my news from all around.
Yeah.
Listen to all sides of it.
A little bit of here, a little bit of there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you make your own decision.
Yeah. I listen to both sides of the argument in case there's something I'm missing.
And then, when you want to get a little bit of the full blown, you flip on the old Uncle Ted.
Oh, yeah. She.
Oh, man. Talk about your wild card.
Hmm.
I was going to go see him in concert, though. He came here, I don't know, it was like a month ago, and I missed it. He's 70-something, still rocking his ass off. Got to give him some kind of credit.
My uncle used to go boar hunting with them out here.
Really?
Hmm.
Yeah, he's got a killer ranch set up. But, yeah. Carlson was the most watched show on American television for sure. He's got a hell of a following, so be interesting to see, just for seeing sakes.
For shits and giggles.
Shits and giggles. Well, it's 2 a.m. I'm gonna giggle my ass out of here because I'm about to pee in my pants.
So
there
am
you go. Other than that, hope you all have a great rest of the week, and see you again for next Weird Wednesday, which will be on next Wednesday. Imagine that. And probably see you on Paranormal Soup on Sunday. I'm not sure who's going to be the guest because I forgot. I had it all somewhat memorized and then I forgot. So I don't have a clue. I have to go back and look.
Hi, Linda. Bye, Linda.
All right. Other than that, we're out of here.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. We'll catch you later on.